A police chase from St. George to Mesquite ends with one man dead. 3 suspects arrested and facing drug trafficking charges. And the LDS Church announces new temple locations.
You're watching St. George News at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Amy Bennett. A neighbor stopped an alleged crime in St. George which led to a high-speed chase with police that ended in Mesquite, Nevada. Haven Scott has more on the story.
Southbound, mile marker 121, number 1 lane, 85 miles an hour.
A high-speed chase began in St. George on Friday afternoon when an observant neighbor and a homeowner called 911 during a break-in. St. George police reported the pursuit for the suspect ended in Mesquite, Nevada, when the suspect took his own life.
Thanks, Haven. 3 suspects arrested in separate incidents on I-15 in Iron County are facing drug trafficking charges. The first arrest involved Paul Sarabia Pena with 55 pounds of meth, heroin, fentanyl, and cocaine. Later, Valerie and Ricardo Rivera were arrested with 15 pounds of meth and cocaine in a hidden compartment. All 3 are being held without bail. Cedar City's annual Out of the Darkness Walk event, which is staged to help prevent suicides, took place Saturday morning. Jeff Richards has the story.
Dozens of people took part in Cedar City's annual Out of the Darkness Walk on Saturday morning. Event organizer Bree Talbot welcomed those in attendance.
But by showing up today, you guys are all sending the message that mental health is real as physical health. You're sending a message that reaching out for help is the strong thing to do, and you're showing others that suicide, which is currently the 11th leading cause of death in the U.S., can no longer be swept under the rug.
With many of them wearing T-shirts and colorful beads in memory of their loved ones, the participants then walked approximately 1.5 miles up Cold Creek Trail before turning around and making their way back to Main Street Park. Organizers said this year's walk raised more than $18,000 for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Thanks, Jeff. Dixie High School's class of 1973 celebrated its 50th year reunion. Eric George Gould has the story.
A Dixie High School Circle of Life was completed Friday night when the class of 1973 held its 50th reunion at Walt Brooks Stadium. The Flyers won the football state championship that year, and members of the class enjoyed a Flyers win over Cedar in Region 9 football action. Several of the 1973 state champs were honored before the game when they presented the game ball.
At its latest general conference, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced the locations of 20 new temples that will be built. This announcement is on record to be the second highest number of temples announced at one time in the church's history, behind the April of 1998 conference session, where they announced 32 total temples. And now to Cannon with sports.
This past week in sports, Dixie beat Cedar in a game that went down to the wire, but the Flyers were able to get the win 31-28 over the Reds and stay undefeated in region. Desert Hills beat Snow Canyon on the back of Thunder running back Titan Mason, who had 4 touchdowns and over 300 rushing yards in the game. And Crimson Cliffs remains undefeated in region play after beating Hurricanes 62-7. Region 9 girls soccer is headed to the playoffs as region championship is shared between Desert Hills and Crimson Cliffs. The Thunder beat the Mustangs 1-0 in their final matchup, but both teams finished the season with a record of 10-2 in region. In Region 9 boys golf, Crimson Cliffs claims the region title after winning the match at Green Springs. It was a close one as the Mustangs shot .291, the Warriors shot .292, and then the Flyers shot .293. In Region 9 girls tennis, Snow Canyon sophomore Maggie Crosby won an individual state championship, taking first in the second singles bracket. For Region 9 volleyball, it was a night full of sweeps as Desert Hills, Hurricane, and Cedar all beat their opponents 3-0. Now back to you, Amy.
Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. I'm Amy Bennett with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5.